Hi everyone, this is Dr. Nitin Chhoda with Ignition Time and welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for being a viewer and subscriber. This is going to be the most comprehensive and the most detailed video I've done up until this point on the $908 billion Senate bipartisan package that has been proposed that is now getting more and more support from both Republicans and Democrats. That's number one. Number two, Lindsey Graham said that as long as this was completely fleshed out, the president would sign it. Number three, Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell and House Speaker Pelosi spoke today, and the Senate Majority Leader said that the goal is to get both a government spending bill and COVID relief done. Now, the Senate Majority Leader did not comment up until this point on whether he would support this package or not, but I think everything is sort of getting lined up for hopefully this package or a version of it to pass. Now I'll address some common questions. I was asked, what about PUA benefits? I have some new information for you about a probable 13-week extension to both the PUA and the PEUC benefits being in this $908 billion Senate package. As far as the retroactive aspect of the $300 a week federal booster on top of the state unemployment benefits are concerned, at minimum it will be until December. It will be from December 1st. But Democrats in the bipartisan group, and this is reporting from Jeff Stein over at the Washington Post. In fact, you'll see a tweet from Jeff Stein from the Washington Post. We have heard from multiple sources that Democrats in the bipartisan group are making a push for unemployment benefits to be retroactive through October and November, but their effort may or may not succeed. So that was reporting from Jeff Stein at the Washington Post. Also in new reporting from Jeff, you'll see this tweet on your screen. Congressional aides are expressing confidence about 13-week extensions of both the PUA programs and the PEUC extensions will be part of the final bipartisan compromise. So this is extremely encouraging. In fact, Jeff wrote a very detailed article that was published on the Washington Post website. We'll provide you with a link to the article in the description section below. What's in the $908 billion economic relief proposal? Stimulus checks are out. Jobless aid is in. Let's just jump right into specific details of the $908 billion economic relief proposal from a bipartisan group of senators. So let's be clear, the actual legislative text, the actual bill has not been released yet. It will be released very soon, but we do have a one-page summary that was provided by Jeff Stein from the Washington Post. In fact, you'll see that one-page summary on your screen right now. This is called the COVID Emergency Relief Framework. And this combines priorities from both Democrats as well as Republicans. And it includes priorities like state and local funding. It includes priorities like liability protection to some extent. And there were many, many names behind this. This has been spearheaded by Democrats Joe Manchin from West Virginia and Mark Warner, Democrat from Virginia, working alongside Republican Senators Lisa Murkowski from Alaska, Mitt Romney from Utah, Bill Cassidy from Louisiana, Susan Collins from Maine, Angus King, who's an independent, Rob Portman from Ohio, Marco Rubio from Florida, and Maggie Hassan, who's a Democrat from New Hampshire. They've all been supportive of this effort, and congressional aides have for weeks worked hard to try and put this together along with these lawmakers. So what is the most expensive aspect of this framework? The most expensive aspect is $288 billion in assistance for American businesses, with lawmakers insisting that this funding be primarily geared towards assisting smaller companies. Now, this bipartisan framework, specifics are still going to be worked out, but the idea is to help smaller and more vulnerable companies. Now, this is going to include a second round of the Paycheck Protection Program, something that even the Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell supports. Part of the $288 billion would likely be used to specifically help restaurants. I've mentioned this before. Individuals in travel, leisure, entertainment, and hospitality have been significantly impacted by this pandemic. Many of them have lost their jobs permanently. Now, here's something interesting. This would also include another round of economic injury disaster loans, which offer smaller loan amounts than the PPP program. Now, the second most expensive item in this bipartisan framework is $180 billion for unemployment benefits for jobless Americans. So under this bipartisan plan, Americans on unemployment would receive $300 per week from the federal government on top of the existing state unemployment benefits. I have seen reports that this $300 per week would be on top of state unemployment benefits from the 1st of December up until the end of March, lasting 4 months. However, I did mention at the start of this video that it is likely that we could see retroactive benefits going further back from December. This is something that Democrats are pushing for. We are also likely to see a 13-week extension of the PUA program and the PEUC program, which at the current time, unless there is legislation from Congress which is signed into law by the president, which then becomes a law, unless we see that, the PUA program and the PEUC program are scheduled to expire at the end of this month. Now, Senator Chuck Grassley and Senator Ron Wyden, the two leading members of the Senate Finance Committee, are expected to iron out the specifics as to whether it will be retroactive, even more what will be the exact extension of the PUA program and the PEUC program. Those are specifics that these two lawmakers are going to work out should this actually become a bill, which does seem likely. Now, state and local funding. This is a big one. In the updated version of the HEROES Act, the Democrats wanted $436 billion for state and local funding. Secretary Mnuchin, before the election, offered $250 billion for state and local funding. Well, this bill includes $160 billion for state and local governments to help them get through the next several months without having to cut personnel or without having to cut services. There's a lot of controversy as far as this is concerned amongst Republicans, because Republicans don't want to give too much money to state and local governments. They don't want to do what are called as bailouts. In fact, the president has repeatedly called funds for state and local governments demands from House Speaker Pelosi as bailouts for poorly run democratic states. On this channel, we talk about what's important for the country, what's important for the economy, what's important to your money. And for me, it's not about the red or the blue, it's about the red, white, and blue. I'm not Democrat, I'm not Republican, I'm American. I believe that if a state has a need, they should get it. Now, are some states going to be badly managed compared to other states? Of course. If you take 10 businesses, and if the 10 businesses do something that's similar, you're bound to find some businesses that do better and some businesses that do worse. But the time to penalize those businesses at a time when everyone is struggling is not now. This is something that we can work on down the road, maybe even recapture some of the money if we find that somebody is being irresponsible with the money. But at this point, I think we need to help those who need it the most, because help is needed now. Now, the temporary liability shield, this is important for both sides. Now, keep in mind this one-page framework is quite vague. It simply says provide short-term federal protection from COVID-related lawsuits with the purpose of giving states time to develop their own response. Now, to be honest with you, I think that means different things to different people. That's incredibly vague. We need something specific about what could constitute a lawsuit, what doesn't, what are the parameters, what's allowed, what's not allowed. I guess this is something that's going to have to be worked out in the final piece of legislation. According to Remington A. Gregg, who's a counsel for civil justice and consumer rights at Public Citizen, which is a left-leaning group, the current framework in the bipartisan proposal is incredibly vague, and I do not believe both sides can reach a compromise on this issue. And he also said no compromise on a liability shield is necessary because we shouldn't give companies a way to escape liabilities if their actions sicken others. Now, there are other aspects to funding within this framework. There's $82 billion for schools and education funding. There's $45 billion for hard-hit transit agencies, including airlines, airports, buses, and Amtrak. There's $26 billion for agriculture and nutrition assistance, which would aim to deal with the horrific hunger crisis that we are facing across the country. $25 billion in housing and rental assistance to try and save people from evictions, because keep in mind, tens of millions of our fellow Americans could be facing evictions. So I've seen some estimates that suggest that numbers north of 30 million. $16 billion to help the government distribute the vaccine, which is going to be a massive, massive undertaking. $10 billion for the United States Postal Service and $10 billion for childcare. Now, here's what's not in the bill. Now, I want to be clear, the current framework does not renew the federal moratorium on evictions that is set to expire at the end of this year. And this again could put 30 million individuals at risk for eviction. A congressional aide did tell Jeff Stein from the Washington Post that the eviction moratorium is expected to be in the final agreement. So this is a good thing. Now keep in mind, this does not really cost the government anything. This is simply a mandate from the government to tell landlords, hey, you can't throw out people for reasons related to COVID. That's my interpretation. So honestly, there's no reason this should not be done if the reason is related to COVID. Now I do know there are landlords who depend on rent, and I've gotten a lot of comments from landlords. I understand that there are two sides to the story, but this is where things stand. An extension of the federal eviction moratorium is likely to be in this $908 billion COVID stimulus bill, which is expected to move forward based on the information we have. Now, something that is not in the framework and not expected to be in the final bill, because it's expensive, because there's a huge cost involved as far as the federal government is concerned, is a $1,200 stimulus check. A second round of $1,200 stimulus checks, even though they were supported by both Democrats as well as Republicans, and the president, is not included in the bipartisan framework. Congressional Republicans have said that they do not want to spend more than $1 trillion on the stimulus package. And keep in mind, state and local government funding is already there in this. There's some small business relief, there's aid to the unemployed. Lawmakers simply do not have money left over to include stimulus checks and keep it within the $1 trillion framework. That is where things stand right now, everybody. There were some other things also that were included. There were a lot of other things also that were excluded. And there was a Democrats' push for hazard pay, which would give bonuses to essential workers and healthcare professionals who've endangered their lives during the pandemic. That was also excluded from this plan. Those are the full details of the plan, everybody. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. We'll provide you with a link to all of our resources in the description section below. I do want to point out one more thing. Here's a tweet on your screen from Jeff Stein, who, by the way, is the author of the article that provided all the details of the $908 billion stimulus proposal from the bipartisan group of senators. Full credit to Jeff Stein. Check out his article. I'll provide you with a link in the description section below, like I said. But here's another tweet from Jeff Stein where Jeff says, one way to think of unemployment benefits in the bipartisan Senate bill is it's like giving 3 to 4 stimulus checks to 20 million jobless Americans. Now think about this for a second. $300 a week federal booster over 4 weeks is $1,200. You do that over 4 months, that's like giving 3 to 4 stimulus checks to 20 million jobless Americans, right? So just look at the numbers, that makes sense. Here's the problem, and Jeff points it out. Millions of Americans have also seen steep cuts in pay, and some are not even eligible for unemployment benefits. So what if you had a steep cut in your salary because of reduced hours or for whatever reason because you were working part-time? You're not eligible for unemployment, therefore you're not getting unemployment benefits, but you were looking for a stimulus check. So what he's saying is they would be left out. Millions of Americans who've seen steep cuts in pay without losing jobs and would not benefit from the $300 a week booster in unemployment. It does, the PUA, the PEUC does not matter to them, and he's absolutely right. And finally, in some other news, you'll see Jake Sherman pointed this out, and Jake Sherman replied to a comment from Jake Tapper, who's actually interviewing President-elect Biden and Vice President-elect Kamala Harris together tonight on CNN. President-elect Joe Biden spoke with Dr. Fauci this afternoon and asked Dr. Fauci to stay on in his position, in his current position, and to serve as a chief medical advisor to President-elect Joe Biden. And in a follow-up tweet, Jim Acosta also commented on this and said, Dr. Fauci, you'll see this tweet from Jim Acosta from CNN, Dr. Fauci will be staying on in his current role and advise incoming President Biden on the pandemic. Fauci said he spoke with President-elect Biden about it personally today, and during the phone call, Biden said he would appreciate it if Fauci stayed on to continue fighting the pandemic. That's it, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Dr. Nitin Chhoda with Ignition Time. If you learned something new from this video, please consider clicking the like button. Please subscribe and please enable notifications. The name of our channel is Ignition Time. If you don't know anything about me, check out my video. You'll learn a little bit more about who I am, what my journey has been like, and why you should listen to me. I have to tell you, I have the honor, the privilege, the fortune of living the American dream. I want to be very clear on our channel. It's not about the red or the blue. It's about the red, white, and blue. I'm not Democrat. I'm not Republican. I'm American first, as we all are. Remember, you can get on our SMS list. Just get your cell phone out. Send a text message with the word ignition or with the word time to 70,000, that's 70000. You'll get added to SMS alerts list. You'll get breaking news and alerts if we release any programs, and if you're interested in those programs, you'll be notified if you're on the list. Also, you can get added to our email list. Simply go to ignitiontime.com/alerts. That's ignitiontime.com/alerts, and you can get added to our email list. You can opt out of the email list or the SMS list at any point in time that you want. No worries about that. So please make sure you get on either list. Now, keep in mind that we release videos at 2 p.m. East Coast time most days of the week. That's 2 p.m. East Coast time. Sometimes YouTube does not send out notifications on time. So all you have to do is simply bookmark youtube.com/ignition time. That's youtube.com/ignition time. This way, you can visit the home page of our channel and you can then watch any video at any point in time that you want without having to be dependent on YouTube notifications, so you may want to do that. Speaking of notifications, follow us on Instagram. Our Instagram handle is ignition_time. That's ignition_time. Follow us on Instagram for exclusive content specifically for our Instagram followers. You can also follow us on Twitter. Our Twitter handle is also ignition_time. That's ignition_time. You'll get breaking news and alerts from us on Twitter. If you learned something new from this video, once again, please click like, please subscribe, please enable notifications, because that would mean a lot to us. That is your vote of confidence in us, and that tells the YouTube algorithm that you found the video beneficial. Please share this video with friends and family. You know that we don't believe in hype. This channel, the Ignition Time channel, is not about false hope. It's not about hype. I have a lot of respect for our viewers and subscribers. I know you can handle the truth. I give you the truth. I'm not going to string you along or essentially give you any false hope. I'm going to let you know what is important as far as the country is concerned, as far as the economy is concerned, and as far as your money is concerned, because what's going on in the country affects the economy, and what's going on in the economy affects your personal finances, your wallet. So make sure that you subscribe to our channel. And finally, please comment below. Our community is growing. It's very intelligent. It's very bipartisan. You'll probably make some new friends in the community. We are highly respectful. Make sure to become a part of our community. And also, you'll find a link to all of our resources in the description section below. That's one thing that is a standard in our channel. We'll always provide you with a link to all our resources so you can check them out for yourself. Thank you so much for watching. I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next episode of Ignition Time. Take care. Bye.